This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, hi there, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter. I'm welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe Birthday Boy. And the birthday boy for today, October the 6th, is a famed head coach of the NFL who became the first black head coach in NFL history to win a Super Bowl, setting up people like Mike Tomlin to follow in his footsteps. That's right, it's Tony Dungy. Tony Dungy was a head coach for 13 years in the NFL with Tampa and Indy. He only missed the playoffs twice in his career. And he led the Colts to victory in Super Bowl 41 in 2007, which meant that he became the first black head coach to win the Super Bowl and getting the Colts their first Super Bowl in the city of Indianapolis. Dungy would begin his head coaching tenure in 96 with the Bucks, which were a laughingstock. However, using his Tampa 2 defensive scheme, Dungy helped Tampa out, leading him to 4 playoff appearances in 6 seasons. He unfortunately would be fired from the Bucks because of postseason struggles in 2001. Unfortunately, though, the next season after Dungy left, John Gruden was brought in and he won the Super Bowl for Tampa. However, Dungy would become the Colts head coach for 7 years, qualifying for the playoffs in each. His greatest success occurred in the Colts Super Bowl season of 2006. He would retire from coaching following the 2008 season, and he's been an analyst on Football Night in America for NBC all this time. He is actually the national spokesperson for the fatherhood program All Pro Dad, and he was inducted to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Why did I say that? In 2016. So Dungy played college ball at the University of Minnesota and was their quarterback for a while. Dungy was unselected in the 1977 NFL draft. Maybe the black quarterback controversy happened because, the NFL seemed to be not really good with black quarterbacks and all that. I know Warren Moon went undrafted, and then he had to head up north to the CFL for the NFL to take notice. But Tony Dungy was drafted by Pittsburgh, was given a chance to play for Pittsburgh as a free agent. Sadly, though, he would be a safety. He was basically a defensive reserve and a special teams player. However, he actually played for the 1978 Steelers when they won the Super Bowl 13, if you will, and led the team in interceptions. So at least he had a Super Bowl ring as a player. He would then, unfortunately, be traded to San Francisco, and then would be in training camp with the Giants in 1980, and that was it. Dungy was the most recent NFL player to intercept a pass and throw an interception in the same game. Dungy was an emergency quarterback for the Steelers against the Oilers in 1977 when both Terry Bradshaw and his backup Mike Krosak went down with injuries. And then, of course, he played safety. So it was amazing. He decided to be an assistant coach for his alma mater, University of Minnesota, in 1980. He was the defensive backs coach, and then the NFL said they needed him. Pittsburgh wanted him to be an assistant. He was named defensive backfield coach in 82 and then promoted to defensive coordinator in 1984. But after a few bad years, he was canned. He decided to go with Kansas City and become the defensive back coach before becoming the defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings under Dennis Green's watch. Because Minnesota had good defense with Dungy helping out. Dungy was hired by Rich McKay to reform the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because of the lack of success. So January 1996, he decided to take the job. He installed his version of the cover 2 defense alongside defensive coordinator Monty Kiffin with a few new wrinkles. The Tampa 2. Dungy would only suffer one losing season as head coach, his first season, 6-10 in 1996. Oddly enough, for the 97 season, Tampa was 5-0, which was amazing and all that. I mean, how did they do that? They would finish second in the NFC Central, their first winning season in 15 years. The Bucks would beat Detroit in the playoffs in the last game played at Tampa Stadium before they moved to Raymond James. They would lose to the Packers in the second round. The Bucks won the division in 1999 and got to the 2000 NFC title game until St. Louis beat them 11-6. DUngy was basically fired after a few terrible wildcard losses to the Eagles. And the owners thought that DUngy's offense was too conservative. The worst part was the next year, John Gruden was brought in, and the Bucks won the Super Bowl over DUngy. DUngy did construct the team in a sense. However, 8 days after DUngy got fired by Tampa, he was hired by Indianapolis, a team that was good offensively but weak defensively. So DUngy used his Tampa 2 defense immediately. And, he did his job. Unfortunately, his first season with the Colts, they were shut out 41-0 by the New York Jets in the first round. Amazing. The team would lose to the Patriots back-to-back years in the postseason. But DUngy got a contract extension. The Colts looked good in the 05-06 season. They won their first 13 games, and people thought the Colts could be undefeated. All that. The Colts were given home field advantage with their 13-0 mark, so they had not much to play for. They did lose to San Diego. Then they decided to play their starters sparingly in the final 2 games. Worst of all, the Colts hosted the Pittsburgh Steelers, who were the 6th seed in the AFC. And in a back-and-forth game that was led by Jerome Bettis' fumble that almost cost the Steelers the game if it wasn't for Ben Roethlisberger's tackle. And, of course, Mike Vanderjagt's blown field goal to tie the game. The Colts could not do it. Colts were the first team to be 13-0 to start the season and not reach the Super Bowl. They didn't even reach the conference finals. However, the Colts in 06-07 had a marked improvement in defensive play. The Colts held the Kansas City Chiefs and Baltimore Ravens in check. The Colts were down 21-3 on home turf to the Patriots in the AFC title game, but they somehow did it. Pissing me off in the process, of course. So DUngy became the second black head coach to lead his team to the Super Bowl. Ironically, the first happened only a few hours earlier as Lovie Smith got the Bears into the Super Bowl by clinching the NFC bid. So the first 2 black head coaches in the Super Bowl would face each other up. One of them had to lose. And despite Devin Hester's touchdown return on the first play of the game, the Colts did win the game 29-17. DUngy would face his former Buccaneers squad twice as a Colts coach and beat them both times. The first one was when the Colts came back from 35-14 down late in the fourth quarter to win 38-35 in overtime. DUngy would win his 72nd game as Colts head coach in December 2007, which actually set the record for most head coaching wins in the Colts history, beating Don Shula. And yes, Don Shula was the Colts coach. He was the coach of them in Super Bowl III. Reminder. DUngy said he would return for the 2008 season and would retire. The Colts did okay, but in the wild card round, they got shocked by San Diego. And Jim Caldwell was given the reins to the Colts. NBC, after DUngy's retirement, decided to give him a studio analyst job on Football Night in America. DUngy had a lot of records and all that. He was the first NFL head coach to defeat all 32 teams. Of course, Houston was the 32nd team in 2002. He was the youngest assistant coach and the youngest coordinator in NFL history. He was assistant at 25 and a coordinator at 28. Wow, that's amazing. DUngy was the first black head coach to win the Super Bowl, but it made him the 3rd black head coach to win a pro football championship in North America. Darren Arbett of the San Jose SaberCats of the Arena Football League won the 2002 title, and Pinball Clemens of the Argos won the Grey Cup in 2004. So yeah, I remember that. Dungy became the sixth man to play in the Super Bowl and be the head coach of a Super Bowl team, joining Dan Reeves, Sam White, Mike Ditka, Forrest Gregg, and Tom Flores. Ron Rivera would come in soon enough, doing his job too. But after winning the Super Bowl, Dungy became the third man to win Super Bowls as a player and coach, following Ditka, who was a good tight end for many years. Oh yeah, I guess he won it with the 71 Cowboys. And then, of course, he won 85 Bears as a head coach. 86, I should say. And Tom Flores. I don't know what Tom Flores' position was, but I know he did with Oakland. Coaching strategy. His Tampa 2 was great. A conservative ball control offense based primarily on running the ball and short high percentage passes when he was at Tampa. So the cover 2 worked. The stifling cover 2 of 4 linemen, 3 linebackers, and 4 defensive backs. Well, that's usual. Anyway, he has a coaching tree that involves Lovie Smith, Mike Tomlin, Jim Caldwell, and Leslie Frazier. I know they're all black, but it's diversity. So anyway, he had a coaching philosophy about, Dungy stretches that coaches are teachers who put faith in family ahead of football. Do not belittle the players or scream at them and remain calm when things go badly. They guide instead of goad. That's amazing. In his head coaching career, he was 54-42 with Tampa in the regular season, 2-4 in the playoffs. With the Colts, he was 85-27 for a 759 winning percentage in the regular season. That is freaking amazing. In fact, his final 6 seasons as Colts head coach, they had a 750 clip or 12 wins in each season. In the playoffs, he was 7-6 with the Colts. Not bad. So overall, 139-69 with a 668 winning percentage as a coach, 9-10 in the playoffs. But who cares? Dungy is an evangelical Christian, and he almost lived football for the prison ministry. But he's been through community service programs about mentoring and all that. Anyway, Tony Dungy is opposed to same-sex marriage, and Michael Sam coming out of the closet after being drafted by the Rams in 2014. Anyway, Dungy is married to Lauren, and they have 7 children together. 2 daughters and 5 sons. Their oldest son died by suicide at age 18. And Eric Dungy played for Oregon for 3 years before moving to South Florida. Okay. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He's made a few books about faith in sports and all that. And of course, he was Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2016, which is better than nothing. So, yeah, great times ahead for Tony Dungy. He broke down some barriers, and that was good. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. Adu.